Welcome, fellow travelers. Welcome to the Unnamed Podcast that is about Adventure Time. Here we have me, Russell the Human.
And I'm Ned the Human.
Also a human. Are we sure about this? Are we sure that we're both...
Still not actually sure.
Okay. I don't know. I'm new to the show. Ned is pretty familiar with Adventure Time. We're starting this off from the get-go, and we're going to go through every episode with the occasional break, possibly. We'll figure that out as we go.
Yes, we will.
But for now, we started Season 1, Episode 1, Slumber Party Panic, and I almost want to just take a moment. I feel like we need to get to know our audience, and hopefully we'll get to know our audience through socials and whatnot, which... we don't have a name, so it's kind of hard to say what our hashtag or our @ is going to be, but we'll figure that out.
We'll figure it out. Well, audience wants to get to know us first.
Yeah. So let's get to know us. Ned, tell us about your relationship to the show, and then also maybe our relationship a little bit, and how you got here and why we're doing this.
Oh, yeah, man. I am a 27-year-old man right now.
Did you just look at your watch?
Yes, I looked at my watch to figure out how old I was.
Yeah, so I do the math too. Every time I figure out my name, I go, all right, 1993, 27 years.
27 years old, at 7:02 on a Wednesday. But yeah, so I didn't really get into Adventure Time probably till mid-college, and we just started watching it with some roommates and realizing that it was like beyond something that was just trash Cartoon Network television. I think we're both, sophomores in high school, maybe juniors?
Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, that would have been when I was kind of moving past, I feel like, Cartoon Network and starting to focus a little bit more on really just watching that 70s show and working out. And not that I'm a gym rat or anything. I'm as skinny as they come. Thank you, Ned. Thank you. No, I was cycling a lot. So I was about as skinny as you could be. I think in high school when we were, 16 years old, my license was saying that I was 122, 5'8", 5'9". So you really could not get too much smaller than I was. And I used to take those like fat tests or whatever, see how athletic you are, what's your body mass index or whatever. And mine was pretty much like, you should be sick right now or an Olympic athlete. And I was neither. So I don't really know what was up with that. But that was my situation. So anyways, this show was coming out. And neither one of us watched it when it first aired.
No, it wasn't probably till 2013, maybe 14, when I was like, they got something. They got something going. They got some genius going on over here. Also, probably the introduction of all of us into Netflix and Hulu and all the streaming sites anyway, which was the introduction to being able to binge anything.
Dude, I'm not mad about this. I just thought I thought for sure this was something that you grew up watching. Because I can remember very distinctly, for me at least, Nickelodeon, when the show first came out. Not this show, but... Watch with this show. I remember when this show first came out, but really the show that sticks out in my mind as like a pivotal moment was Avatar: The Last Airbender. I remember being in my basement, like watching the first episode, being like obsessed with Aang and just how cool airbending was. And then they were doing a little bit of water bending, and then they showcased fire bending too. And I was just like, what is this incredible magical world that I'm about to get to watch every single week as it's coming out with the rest of the kids my age, and we got to talk about it at school on the playground. I was hoping that was what this was for you with Adventure Time.
No, so the funny part is especially as we dive into the first season more, you start to realize that as a maybe older than a 13-year-old, season 1 it's hard to get through. Honestly, it's random, it's everywhere, it's obscene, absurd, and everything. Honestly, you begin to love about the show later on. But organically watching it as an 18-year-old, you'd be like, this is just random kid stuff going on over here. But
that might be why I didn't watch it. Honestly, that might be what happened to me because Chowder was coming out.
It's probably the reason why we're here today is that they took the show, they took an idea. The writers of Cartoon Network, honestly, I'm speaking for them. Obviously, let them comment in the comment section below whether or not they agree with me, but that they took something that was a fun, childish absurd idea, which many Cartoon Network shows start out that way.
Yeah.
And they built a universe around it. They built three-dimensional characters. They build relationships that are long-lasting, that have history, that have futures as well. So I think...
Talking about this show specifically, not so much other shows that were occurring in that time period, I do feel like Cartoon Network, and this is why I didn't watch it other than just kind of getting older, but also the humor was hard for me to get into at first, and I feel like you have been trying to get me to watch Adventure Time for the past 3.5, 4 years, I guess, since we moved up to Nashville. We're doing this podcast in Nashville, Tennessee, by the way, Music City. We all love it, but yeah, so you've been trying to get me to watch it, and meanwhile, I've been trying to get you to watch other shows, and the outcome of that was just no one watched what the other person wanted them to watch. But yeah, no, when the show was coming out, the humor was just like every 5-7 seconds, maybe even less, there's a joke. And that kind of felt like there was a wave of that. There was Chowder, there was this, there was the regular show, and all that was happening on Cartoon Network. And as a kid, I just couldn't get into it. It just wasn't for me. I really wanted it to be, I think, at some point, because like I said, I was coming home from exercising or cycling or whatever, and was exhausted, was laying on the couch and needed something to watch, and found that solace in that 70s show and didn't find it in Cartoon Network at the time.
Yeah. I mean, well, and that's the thing. I think we all wanted to be more mature than we were. We all wanted to be more, to watch more adult things, to be honest. But when you go back to some OG good Cartoon Network shows, you watch things like some of the episodes of Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, and you realize
so good.
That some of the creativity and the thoughtfulness behind the writing is just absolutely incredible. And they're not only hitting on kids' entertainment, but they I feel like the writers of Cartoon Network truly do want to hit on the human experience, whether it be as a child or as an adult. And honestly, the weird gray area is when you're post-pubescent, angsty 17-year-old. So that's probably why I didn't start it, when the show launched, but launched it and got kind of started in 2014. Was able to binge maybe, I think what they were through season 5 or 6 at that point. I'll go back and fact check myself on that on later. So I was able to get through really for any Adventure Time fans out there right now. I think we can all agree that when kind of post season 4 into season 5 is when Finn gets into his relationship with Fire Princess.
That brings up a really interesting point. Where are we going with spoilers? And also anyone who hasn't seen the show, I almost don't feel sorry because it's been out for forever. I did not know that. I don't know if I wanted to know that. I will say 2 nights ago watching this show with my girlfriend, I got a little mad at her for spoiling something that I was like, this is good podcast information. If you're out there listening, I said, I'm sorry. I hope you believe me. But
this is a good time.
Yeah. What are we going to do? What are we feeling with that?
I'm going to try my best not to do spoilers, but we're going to have our sound editor, Michael, over here. Anytime I accidentally drop one and you go, oh no, we can get a little sound bite in there that goes, spoiler drop.
Yeah, is that what we're doing?
We might do that.
Your love of EDM's coming out on our podcast, and I don't know if I'm down for it. So let's get into the show a little bit more.
Let's get into Slumber Party Panic, episode 1.
Yeah.
Adventure Time season 1. We'll dive into a little bit of episode 2. You did watch Trouble in Lumpy Space. Oh,
not at all. Just watched the first episode.
Good stuff. This is all we're gonna get in the thick of it with episode 1. I love it.
There was a lot. There was a lot more than I thought there was going to be. And my initial kind of impression of the show, first couple minutes, I had to pause the show way more than I wanted to. The writers of the show did not in any way neglect the intelligence of their audience. I feel like the jokes can be pretty surface level, pretty dumb. I think one of the characters at the end of the episode is like, squeeze me and I'll fart, which ends up being, honestly, we'll get to that later.
Great way to end an episode.
One of my favorite characters so far, if not my favorite character so far. I've got a name for my favorites. I think they're going to be my lovelies. We'll see if that changes. I got a little segment going, but they really do a good job, and it gets really in depth. And we'll talk about this a little bit later, trying to figure out the themes of this episode. And there are multiple ones, but yeah. So the first thing I noticed was how beautiful it was. Like, I mean, it really was a pretty, like the palette that they chose for this show is very unique. You could recognize it anywhere. It wasn't like anything that was coming out of that time. I feel like a regular show had some sort of similar blues that they were using.
Well, and it wasn't Chowder either. In Chowder's palette, it was just impossible to almost watch that if you had any inclination to eye pain.
Yeah, and also like how they use those backgrounds that move like that or don't they're stationary while the characters move or whatever.
Exactly.
That always frustrated me. And you know, we're old, I guess. But no, man. Yeah, so let's get into the episode. What's this episode about?
This episode is essentially we just jump right into it. We are knowing not anything about the characters, obviously. A little spooky. We got zombies. We got candy people. We got a very crudely drawn young boy with who's wearing a mask. Or I mean, at this point, even I guess we're as an audience, you're not even sure if he's truly a boy except for the theme song.
Wait, what do you mean?
Because the theme song goes to Jake the dog and Finn the
human. Right. What do you mean he's wearing a mask?
Oh, excuse me, a hoodie or
oh, okay.
So that his little ears, that is actually a hat. That is something that it doesn't get addressed maybe even until season 2. I'm not sure when.
Does he have like some luscious locks?
Oh,
that's what I really want.
It comes out. That is a spoiler drop right there. But I won't do the first exposure. Yeah, Michael over here, our sound editor, is
name drop.
First time through
Michael.
First time through the show, and he is your season 3 binged it in like 2.5 weeks now.
Maybe 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Digestible.
Okay, I don't know if y'all can hear that. Yeah, thank you.
But
pretty incredible. Yeah. Okay, that blows my mind a little bit. I thought that's just what humans look like. I kind of with these shows and especially Adventure Time, I'm trying to just like accept anything that comes my way and figure out what is canon or like what is canon in the sense like what are the rules of this world, you know, and we go into that a little bit.
I'll stop you there because you just said 2 things that were very important for digesting the show. And for any listeners out there that are longtime listeners or any new people, I say take this as some good advice watching the show. You got to learn to accept everything. You don't question too much of what's going on in the universe. You do have to watch, and the show's so enjoyable with very open-minded enjoyment of the universe they've created. Mm-hmm. But the fun part of the show is when you do get to create rules around things, and when certain characters or certain storylines break those rules, it becomes a really, really fun season. So like I said, I'm maybe not getting into the funness of that till season 4, season 5, maybe.
Man, I feel like there's enough in this episode, and really what I wanted to do was try and like, we're bringing, a immature, mature point of view to Adventure Time, right? Like neither one of us are geniuses, neither one of us like study film or anything like that. We're just trying to be, just your average guys who are checking out the show, me for the first time fully and you for what, the 7th, 6th time or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Easily.
And something y'all should know about Ned, he says he's not like, he got into the show in college, whatever. It was enough for him to get a tattoo from the show. Yes, episode 1, I'm calling it
for all the fans out there, the snail that's in every episode giving the little wave is on my ankle.
I didn't see him. I was looking for him. This entire episode, and at no point did the snail show up on my screen. I don't believe he was there.
Well, it sounds like in the next episode, I'm going to have to do a little bit of research on when the snail first appeared and maybe when he last appeared.
Did you not see him either?
I wasn't. I was actually taking a schwitz when I watched this episode.
Okay.
I was in the tub.
Oh, man. Oh, wow. You heard it here first. I watched it 3 times. Once I paused it several times and took notes. Anyways, let's just go back into the episode.
So back into the episode, yeah. we open on like Finn and Princess Bubblegum in the graveyard. Little dark, little menacing for a children's show, which off the bat they kind of throw in some good adult themes. Or that's not it. Graveyard's not an adult theme, but
yeah, it is.
creepy,
Morbid.
creepy, and morbid for a children's show. And off the bat, we were talking about themes for tonight and themes for the show.
Yeah.
I want to get into you see how much Princess Bubblegum is off the bat. Episode 1, first 30 seconds is trying to raise the dead to life. Also, you see that she is
evil, right? She's got to be evil. I'm convinced
she's
Princess
not
Bubblegum is evil. Don't
evil.
spoil it for me. She's got to be.
But there's been a lot of podcasts out here, and I can't say this is an original idea of my own. But it's the matter of the god complex. She is a flawed goddess of her own kingdom.
Goddess or just ruler, though? I mean, as far as I know, she's just the princess.
As far as you know right
may
now,
or may
she
not
is
be made
the ruler.
Of candy.
But if she has the power to bring the dead to life, then, spoiler drop,
through science,
she creates the candy people.
Oh.
She is straight up their god, but then she gets frustrated.
I don't like it.
With the way that they behave. And so she constantly does kind of this fascist theme, is that she creates them, she creates the rules and the bounds and even the physicalities which they exist, but then she turns around and either destroys them or brings them back to life at her own whim. So it's very much a flawed fascist or a fallen god complex. I don't know.
I hope our listeners checked out the episode beforehand, because we're doing such a terrible job of getting through the description. This is better, though. This dives right into my main themes. Other than the fact Princess Bubblegum, I have written down for her manipulative. She's a scientist. She cares for Finn, thinks he's cute. But then also sometimes it feels like there's like a brother-sister thing going on. I don't know if it's like, I mean, it's certainly, is she made of candy? I don't know. Probably not, right? She's a princess, a human of some sort.
She's bubblegum.
She is bubblegum.
She is straight up bubblegum.
So it's not weird that she dated old Mr. Cream Puff.
Oh, old Mr.
Give
Cream
me some
Puff.
sugar, baby. You know?
Oh man, well I love that line. The "Give me some sugar, baby" is actually a callback line. I read this online. Did a little bit of my research here from the movie Army of Darkness, which was actually the third installment of the Evil Dead series.
Whoa. Okay.
So the writers of this show loved the fact they were bringing in some good old fashioned horror movie zombie tropes here, which is fantastic.
That's fantastic. But then so it goes into, and then my description of Finn, whimsical, doesn't seem to be super aware of the rules of OO. Is that how you say the name of the world?
It is OO.
OO. Like, for instance, the candy people explode when they're scared, and he didn't know that for some reason. So we don't know the background. We don't know how long they've known each other. There's really no information about that. He's kind of discovering the world with us, it feels like, for this episode.
That's nice. Well, and he's 10 years old. We learned that down the road.
Okay.
That's not a spoiler there. Finn's about 10 years old at this point.
And
so
Princess Bubblegum dated old Mr. Cream Puff, and so it's probably super old because Mr. Cream Puff is dead. If you have not seen that episode,
you're on already episode 1 out the gates. You're picking up on some consistencies that follow out through the seasons, which is great.
That's what I'm here for. Finn, he has a hard time lying to his friends. That's another thing. Like, he was very real with Jake, and then also just glides right by the lesson at the end. Just totally, it goes in one ear, goes out the other, and he's just like, heck yeah, let's adventure, let's kill some stuff. Like, that was incredible. And then adventuring seems to be the most important thing to him.
Exactly. Sure. Well, and I love that you bring up that point, because through the whole series, that is, without dropping spoilers here, that is an arc of what makes Finn three-dimensional. We start off first, second, third season, and it literally is. There's a lot of stuff in front of Finn's face where he is learning moral lessons. He's facing trials. He's learning about lying to his friends and keeping promises. And then all of a sudden, at the end, he's just like, boom, let's adventure. But when he becomes more developed, there does become there's a point in the show where he really starts to question all of those things, question his own morality, question whether or not he's doing the right thing or not. So it's a beauty that the show makes him a 10-year-old, and a lesson goes in one ear and out the other. Yeah, but what you have to look forward to is in season 9, he learns a lesson and he can't even drop it. It's like a 3-episode arc where he just like learns a lesson and he can't get over it. So it's a wonderful character development. So I'm glad you pointed that out, because it is an important thing to know in all of these episodes. It's like good things to learn. Boom, let's go adventure. Yeah. Forget about it.
Well, let's get into the theme. I mean, you talked about it already. Fascism, not necessarily is the entire theme, but it certainly comes up to some degree. Really, where it comes out to me is the authority figure, being Princess Bubblegum. I felt like Princess Bubblegum essentially was not allowing her people, which you're saying she created them, but her people to have any information. She just comes right out and is essentially just like, we can't tell them, if they are ignorant to the situation, they will just go with what we say. We're doing a slumber party. Let's get everybody into the castle. There are a bunch of zombies everywhere, which are the candy people that she resurrected through her scientific experiment. And they're going into the castle, not knowing what's going on, not being able to make a decision for themselves, just having to go with what their princess has told them to do. And Finn kind of feels weird about that. I feel like Finn goes in there and kind of is unsure if that's really what's best for the people and feels like we should tell people. But then she kind of forces a promise on him that I was like, that's magical. Like when she was doing this little finger thing, and I was like...
Oh, yeah, she was like, royal promise.
Yes, royal promise. And I think I paused it and I went, that was a magical promise. I know that was a magical promise, but then it kind of felt underwhelming. And it pays off at the end, obviously. But then they go and have a slumber party. They play Truth or Dare, which I never...
Nice and dirty.
I never played that as a kid. Parents, if you're listening to this, I'm serious. I never actually played Truth or Dare. I always thought that was just like a silly trope that like people played Truth or Dare, and then 7 Minutes in Heaven. And that was when I went, man, this is a mature audience, right? Like 7 Minutes in Heaven is like a step up for sure.
Yeah. We go from Truth or Dare to 7 Minutes in Heaven.
Real fast.
Real quick.
Yeah. And not only that, but like Jake and Rainicorn.
Lady Rainicorn.
Lady Rainicorn, who is also one of my lovelies of the episode. Just love it. I mean, they're just like, all right, and Rainicorn, is she speaking, is it
She's
Korean?
Korean, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering about that. I
love it when they open the door on them and she's just like, annyeong.
Yeah. I was like, is that Mandarin? And then I think something told me it was Korean instead. But yeah, so they go in and they do that, and that's kind of how Jake, like, he doesn't want to lie, Finn doesn't want to lie to Jake and goes, get in the closet, go play 7 Minutes in Heaven, and Jake's like, I'm coming back out, and we're going to get into this or whatever. And in the meantime, you have a straight up Call of Duty zombies game going on.
Well, a more like Smack the Pinata around zombies game.
Yeah.
I always, when that scene comes up, I always love it. Every time that it happens, we come across probably the only one, maybe two characters in the Candy Kingdom that, there's some more down the road, but especially Manfred, the pinata, who is not candy. He is a straight up pinata. Maybe he's full of candy, just like as we learn when they start hacking away at the zombies. The zombies are full of some sort of candy glowy mush, which is also fantastic. That candy people don't have blood; they just have pixie stick dust inside of them.
Yeah, but the candy start eating, it's cannibalism, right?
And that was my one of my highlighting themes was if we're getting in terms of just all sorts of ethical dilemmas. We have a princess with a god complex. Mm-hmm. We have candy people that not only when they are zombies they want to eat candy, but when they are regular candy they go, your blood is delicious.
Oh yeah. Well, the real issue that I have, honestly, is my favorite character, Starchy. What is up with it? This guy,
Starchy is a wild card through the whole show.
I love Starchy. I have a theory about Starchy that was kind of brought on by my girlfriend, and I'm bringing this up a lot. But we watched for the first time together, and Starchy didn't die. He turns around, he goes, "I'm going to turn around, put my back against whatever, and just like put my defenses down or whatever." Right. My thought is he didn't really die. His job is gravedigger.
Right.
He is a cannibal to begin with, and he is eating candy as they die,
Oh, this is wonderful that after this zombie incident, he just eats all the candy.
Yeah, well, he goes
before
up to...
he buries it.
What's he say when he goes up the Finn at the end there, right? He goes up the Finn, and he says...
He says, you're delicious.
Yeah, he goes like, you're not a zombie anymore. Like, you don't have to keep doing this. And Starchy says, let's see. Oh, that's the wrong quote. Where's it at, man? I have it written down somewhere. Ooh, lol in the podcast. Let's see. I can't help myself. Flesh is delicious, and he's just like gnawing on Jake's leg. And Jake's not even made out of candy as far as we know. He's a human.
That's what I said. Starchy, I feel like, is just a loose cannon through the show. You think you get a hold on him, and they bring in some great Starchy-centered episodes, maybe. Really? When we start getting to the lineage of Root Beer Guy and Cherry Cream Soda, Starchy comes into play there too, and some solid episodes there.
Cool.
Yeah.
So anyways, the episode's kind of wrapping up, right? It feels like it's over. They feed all the candy, and then Finn tells Jake what went down, and he breaks the royal promise. Brings me back to my point. Princess Bubblegum, morally unsure about her. She didn't tell Finn like any of the rules of this royal promise that could have ended his life. Like straight up, the penalty for breaking this promise is death, essentially by fire, trial by fire, right? And it kills me that she didn't say anything to him.
Yeah, well, you start to see that she has this myriad of secrets all about her, and that Finn is the hero of the Candy Kingdom. He is the knight to Princess Bubblegum. His job in the land of Ooh is to be the one that goes to bat for Princess Bubblegum, puts his life on the line. So this is honestly not the last time you ever see Princess Bubblegum put Finn in a situation where his life is compromised. Really? Yeah, okay. Absolutely.
I guess it wouldn't be a good show if there weren't more situations like that, though, right?
Obviously every adventure. This is a show called Adventure Time. Yeah. Adventure involves danger and moral compass guiding.
No episodes of them just hanging out playing chess and just.
Well, there's a few of those. They have. Yeah. We'll get down to one of my favorite episodes, and for any watchers and listeners, whatever out there. Yeah. That are watching Card Wars. Card Wars has got to be one of my favorite episodes. And that's just Finn and Jake chilling in the treehouse playing an Ooh version of Yu-Gi-Oh! Well, just for a full episode. It's wonderful.
I think what we learned from cinema, like movies and whatnot, is one of the great ways to end a movie is by having your main characters right before the climax of the movie play chess, right? Mm-hmm. Just rewatched Harry Potter, not hating on Harry Potter or anything, but maybe that scene, I didn't love that scene.
It's a little bit it's cliche.
Something for Ron to do, Ron had to help out and he did. And I do love Ron, but anyways, we're getting off topic again. There's no tangents in this show. I want to make that extremely clear. I refuse to go on tangents, and Ned's over here scribbling underlines, tangent.
No tangents, because we'll sit here and probably give the most boring 2-hour podcast of your life on just tangents.
Oh, man, and we're never gonna go it's never gonna go straight ahead either. This is like a normal Thursday night for us. I feel like the only way we can stay on topic is if we're playing Magic the Gathering, and we have no choice but to focus on our cards in front of us.
Let's get to the wrap up of the episode. Is Finn gets grabbed up by the Gumball Guardians, then called the Keepers of the Royal Promise.
Yes,
so
and truly saved only because he's friends with Princess Bubblegum.
Exactly. She's not going to let him die at the hand of her own creation.
No, I know, and that's really wraps it up. Time rewind. Time stops when the promise is broken, and that happens, and then they go through the trial, and then of course, very difficult question at the end there. 2 + 2 is what he ends up having to solve.
I just want to know. We need to do a little bit of research on the whatever nerd out there figured out the answer to the first equation.
One. I was wondering if you had that information.
I bet the writers were smart enough. If I had to wager a guess, that the answer to that equation was 4 as well.
4? Dude.
We'll do a little research. Yeah. Maybe we'll do a little follow up.
That's so good. I bet it was too. Oh my gosh. Oh man. And then it kind of rewinds time slightly, I guess, and then they basically just resume and everybody's healed, and the candy are just completely at bliss and just totally cool with what's going on, their situation, whatever. None of it mattered.
Well, and you'll notice, man, that the candy people, I hate to say it, but they maybe are written to be a little bit of a reflection of a ignorant human society at the hands of an truly either all-knowing slash fascist ruler.
Yeah.
Where their ignorance is bliss. They actually live wonderful candy lives. They have wonderful slumber parties. They have a blast with each other. They explode when they get scared. Let's not say that that's out of the question for human society right now. But yeah, like we can maybe look at it like, I mean, if we're looking at maybe a very negative or dystopian way of looking at human society right now, that we are naive, we crave
entertainment. I mean, I know that's a little different from your point, but certainly
leadership.
Yeah, trying to leadership. But I don't want to bring up too much of what's going on. I mean, let's not timestamp this episode entirely, but certainly, happy to be here. Happy to be recording our first episode, and the fact that we were able to make this happen is pretty awesome.
I've been waiting 6 years to do this, and at that, now we will take a break. A word from our sponsors.
Today's sponsor comes all the way from the Bubblegum Lab Company. We feel there is little more sacred than a royal promise, and the Bubblegum Lab Company is making them more accessible than ever. Use promo code TRIALBYFIRE to receive your first royal promise half off. That's promo code TRIALBYFIRE at checkout. Warning, royal promises are non-refundable and liable in court law per Candy Kingdom rules and regulations, while promises are completely one-sided with little to no repercussions for Princess Bubblegum. Making of said promises will result in the stopping of time and a momentary trial by fire prosecuted by the guardians of the Candy Kingdom. Side effects will include death unless you happen to be friends with Princess Bubblegum.
Welcome back to the podcast here. Still unnamed. Still working that out on our beer run that we just took.
We didn't. No beer. No beer was had.
Yeah, this is definitely not a 24-ounce Bud Light in my hand.
We are not
totally fine.
Not old enough. Oh yeah, we are. All right, we're not cool. We're not Gen millennial, whatever. No, we're millennial. We're not Gen
Z.
Yeah.
He's so millennial he doesn't even know
I'm
Gen Z.
So millennial, I just don't even care. So millennial, so cool. Yeah, man. All right, so let's go straight into it. We're going into our segments and the future episodes. I want to have these a little bit more planted into the episode so that we're not just like at the end of the episode and we're talking about our segments.
We don't want to shove a bunch of moral lessons down your throat before you end the podcast is essentially what we don't want to do.
And on that note, let's talk about the sexiest character of the episode.
Sexiest character.
Who do you have?
I would say it might be Mr. Cupcake.
Mr. Cupcake? Okay.
Mr. Cupcake taken off the wrapper.
Yeah.
That's pretty damn sexy.
Was that too obvious? I feel like that was too hot.
It was in your face right there, but obviously that wasn't your choice, though.
He was so swole. If you didn't watch the episode, go back, check it out. It's almost worth watching the episode just for seeing that.
Yeah, and he inspires, in more than one episode through the series, a couple of jealous rages across other relationships. He is a home wrecker.
I love that he comes back. So I guess mine would be probably Lady Rainicorn. I gotta say, there was something about her. It was like mysterious. She's a unicorn. She's not I don't know.
Anyang Haseo, baby.
I don't know what to say. That's my, I wasn't going to do this segment, but that's my pick. Moving on. I have my lovelies, very similar. I've kind of talked about it throughout the episode, so I figured I'd wrap it up real fast. We haven't talked about this character, and I loved this character. We saw him one-liner, Tree Trunks.
Oh, man.
Amazing.
You don't even know the half of it. Tree Trunks has got to be one of my favorite episodes, one of my favorite reoccurring characters, one of my favorite relationships, to be honest.
Okay.
We get into her. She has multiple lovers through the series. She has
hot buns. I mean, of course. Who doesn't want to?
She's got hot buns.
Yeah.
She's got delicious apple pies.
Okay.
You'll learn that later. It's going to be wonderful. She is, I think, and some people I've actually had a lot of conversations, so I can't wait to hear your input as we dive into this more, because her vocals is like the creepy old sexy granny cougar, whatever you might want to call it. And and that drives some people bananas. They said that she's their least favorite character.
I like her. I know a character that's coming. I have seen a few scattered episodes. there's an entire people that I don't like way more than this wonderful little elephant. She was adorable. She's got hot buns, and that's about all you need to know about her. She's not made out of candy. Everybody else is candy. She's the only non-candy oriented character outside of the main characters that we're introduced to. And I thought that was interesting. I wonder how that's going to play in the future. Who knows? We'll find out. You don't have to tell us right now, I guess. But my other lovely, and I'm going to intro, the lovelies is going to be Give Me Some Sugar Baby is going to be what's played right after I bring them up, hopefully, if I can remember. Starchy. I mean, I've talked about him a lot this episode. Starchy, standout character. Of course, they had to do a fart joke at the end with him. Man, Starchy's great.
I have to say, I do love Starchy. He brings it in. He plays a key character in some future episodes, but I would say my loose canon favorite character that is in this episode is the Drunken Punch Bowl.
I can't recall who's the Drunken
Or
Punch Bowl.
is he not in this episode?
I don't know. Is he?
I thought he was.
He might be.
But
I've watched it a handful of times. I don't know this show. Come on, all right.
If he's in this episode, I know he's in season 1. He's a crucial character for the entirety of the show.
Maybe don't watch the show while you're taking a little spritz next time.
No, a schwitz.
Schwitz?
A schwitz.
Okay, yeah. Whatever you want to call it. Don't do it. You know,
Don't
maybe actually watch the episode.
For some reason, I thought Drunken Punch Bowl was in this episode.
I don't know.
Maybe not.
It's just a bunch of candies.
We can edit out this whole portion.
No, we're good.
too,
This was
if we
great.
need to.
Keep it in. Leave it in, Michael. Leave it in. He ain't touching it. Yeah, anyways, let's go next little segment. Let's get into, well, first off, man, I'm a little pissed. You've never asked me to play Dodge Sock. It sounds like an awesome game. I know in college there was something called Slugs, which we don't need to get into what Slugs was. But Dodge Sock sounds awesome.
I'm unfamiliar. I feel like I missed this part of the episode.
Dodge Sock, dude. Dodge Sock it's like very shortly, Jake brings it up to Finn. I think Finn throws a sock at Jake's face, and then he's like almost immediately, he's like, no, go play 7 Minutes in Heaven. It's when they're doing Truth or Dare.
Oh.
And he's like, let's play Dodge Sock or whatever. Fantastic. It sounds like a cool game. I mean, just dodgeball, I guess, with socks. I don't know.
Dodgeball with socks.
But-
I'll allow it. I'll be a part of it.
But you, my friend, have never asked me to play Dodge Sock. It must not be a sport or like an actual activity that they do in this kingdom very often. It almost sounded like it was going to be, and I was looking forward to it.
Something that they could have thrown around a little bit more often, but I guess they had to pick and choose, you know.
Yeah, of course. Do you have any segments?
Man, I would just say not any particular segments. I love the fact that they legitimately switched from doing Truth or Dare Summer Party Game to 7 Minutes in Heaven. And the whole time you can just tell how uncomfortable Finn is with any reference of sexuality or anything relating to a relationship with any girl. He's so spooked. I love it.
Interesting.
It just shows that like Finn is like 10 years. Like, well, we
that.
were all like that when we were 10 years old, man. We're all like, I don't know. I would never kiss the girl.
It seems like he has a thing for the princess. Is the princess just leading him on? I feel like there's a lot of unanswered questions, which makes for a good podcast.
Well, it's going to make for a good podcast. It's going to make for a fun
Makes for a good show.
Everything you're feeling is valid.
Yeah.
Absolutely valid.
So-
with how you feel about it and rightfully so how Finn feels about it.
All right.
Pretty much, is he being led on? Is it a fun friend relationship? Is she like a sister character?
Yeah.
We don't know, and Finn doesn't know, and
No,
a
of
lot of the
course
show
not.
is him trying to get that figured out.
Yeah. I mean, he's certainly, kind of goes of the, just like, he's just there. He's hanging out. He loves it. He's ready for adventure. And we're there with him. The next little thing I had was the lessons. My lessons real quick are ignorance is bliss, which not the best lesson ever. I think now more than ever, you should not just let yourself be ignorant and let's all plug in to some degree.
It doesn't negate the fact that it's blissful. The candy people
Yeah.
were having a freaking blast while they were chopping up some zombies with some baseball bats
Well,
or with some pieces of wood.
That's the next lesson is, if you ever come across zombies, blindfold yourself and swing for the fences.
Swing away, baby.
Is my next lesson. The third lesson is never break a rule or promise. I believe our advertisement was related to Royal Promises. They are half off, which honestly, pretty fantastic deal with Bubblegum Labco. I might be looking into some Royal Promises for Valentine's Day. We'll see.
Oh, go. This is this a family-friendly podcast?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. No, I don't know what that even means, man. Who knows what that entails? Anyways, yeah, and I just wanted to know, man, the outro song is amazing. It's fantastic. It's like, I got to look up the artist. I need to look up the name of it. It's like what I imagine like the indie bedroom pop rock has become almost in like mainstream, like, you know, a little more lo-fi, and you got a freaking hit on your hands, man. It's a great tune. It's just so good.
I know, I'm jealous. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Open Mike Eagle on their Adventure Time podcast brought in the artist that wrote the outro song to be a guest speaker.
Well,
so she's absolutely wonderful.
If we didn't have beef already, I think we got it now. That's my next segment. I'm beefing. I think we need to get this podcast off the ground and running. What better way to do it than a little bit of beef with other podcasts?
Who's your beef, baby?
I am calling out. Well, you're calling. I'm not calling them out. I like Open Mike Eagle.
I like Open Mike Eagle too, but like I'm just saying, I listened to his podcast and it was, phenomenal. Got me into podcasts, like to be quite frank. But now that we are planning doing our own Adventure Time podcast, I feel like they missed a lot of points. So I'm calling out some beef with Open Mike Eagle and saying,
do it.
Like, throw me a response, man. If you think you can out Adventure Time me, let's get you on the show and beef it out.
I don't want any part of that, except for I also do want all of the part of that. And then that I just mean like, bring the beef. Let's get the beef up in here. Let's get this podcast popping. The next, that was so uncharacteristic. I love it. The next, maybe it wasn't. Not
anymore.
The next beef for me is either, do we want to go small? I mean, you kind of went a little big with Open Mike Eagle. Experience Share is a Pokemon podcast. They're playing through the Pokemon games. I love it. It's pretty small. Y'all got to check it out. It's fantastic. And it, honestly, the way they do it really made me want to get into podcasting. Maybe want to give it a shot. But I want to call them out. Tanner, calling you out. Love you. Love Experience Share. But I just feel like, man, you have almost too much in common. And it's the nerdy thing. I'm calling you out. Let's go bigger, though. Let's go bigger. MBMBAM, a Bam Bam, My Brother and Me, one of my favorite podcasts of all time. Calling them out, Justin, Travis, and Griffin, all three of you. I am coming for you on social media. And we're going to take you down. We're coming up. We're not really a comedy podcast necessarily, but we're coming up above that. We're swinging for the fences on this one. We've already talked about this once. Joe Rogan. Can we take him?
The man himself.
The $100 million man.
If we can get Elon Musk smoking a little bit of weed on our show, I think we might be able to take him down.
I bet Elon Musk loves Adventure Time, right?
I bet he does. I feel like that creative and a genius of a man has to appreciate everything that's genius and creative. And that's exactly what this show is about.
But you know who doesn't? Joe Rogan. Calling him out. And then lastly, last podcast I'm going to call out, last beef, Impulsive. The Logan brothers, Logan Paul, Jake Paul. The Paul brothers, I'm sorry. They're not the Logan brothers. No.
His name?
In my mind, Jake, you don't even exist. It's the Logan brothers. I'm calling out both of the Paul brothers. They love beef, and we are coming at you, not trying to fight either one of you, like physically, but we're just like coming at you. And it's going to be great. Here's how the beef is going to start. Logan, I'm looking forward to your fight. Jake, not a chance, bro. Not a chance. Yeah. Any closing remarks?
Closing remarks, man. I feel like I'm just excited to be here. I'm excited to have probably 6.5, if not 7 years of Adventure Time venting to do. So I appreciate our audience listening to me in my full scope 6-7 times watching the show through, being able to listen to my antics, my full scale breakdown of the show. And honestly, I hope that as much as I will say these things, I hope that the audience just agrees. The audience goes, man, I'm glad that other people are feeling what I'm feeling, and that we're sitting here on our own adventure. Basically, me going with a buddy of mine through an adventure that he hasn't gone through, and I'm super pumped about it.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be really therapeutic in a way. I think this is going to let us just explore something about a cool show. I think for me, I watch a lot of, the Rick and Mortys. I love a lot of
me
anime.
some Rick and Morty.
Yeah, Rick and Morty's fantastic. I love a lot of anime. I love podcasts just in general. And I think this is a really wonderful outlet. We do a lot for creators here in Nashville, and I'm excited to get on the creative side of things a little bit. And more so, my goal with this is simply to give the people a new perspective when they're watching these episodes. If you're going to go back through and you're going to watch Adventure Time, watch it with us and just, maybe open your mind a little bit. I feel like, again, we brought up some stuff about Princess Bubblegum that I feel like you could watch the show very easily and just not even notice, not even see. And I hope that we help your watching experience, But let's wrap it up. Thank you so much for being with us. Check us out on all the socials. By the time this comes out, we will have a name. We may not have a name for you guys, our wonderful listeners, but we'll figure one out, or y'all can figure it out. And we will also have social media accounts that you can actually follow us on.
Yes, all of our slime princesses out there, all of our gumball guardians out there, all of our breakfast princesses out there. Just watch along with us because we are in it with you.
Our followers are not all, are they all princesses?
No, they're
I feel
not.
that
We can have some rattle balls in there. We can have a couple ice kings
we're
in
open to
there.
everything, but we'll figure out a name, like an overarching name for them.
Yeah.
Thank you, and can't wait to go on this adventure with you guys. That was a fun bit of witty banter between two friends. What are they calling this sad excuse for a podcast? Never-ending adventure. Please disregard any non-factual phrases that spewed out of Russell's ginger-bearded mouth and all puns from Ned that, let's be honest, didn't tickle your fancy. That being said, these dorks love you and wish you the greatest of adventures. Never-ending Podcast was hosted by Ned Pruitt and Russell Tyndall and engineered by Michael Hitchcock. Until next time.